Hello and welcome to Honest Trailer Commentaries for X-Men Dank Phoenix. Yeah, that's right. I'm Spencer J. Gilbert, Joe, Danielle, Dan.
Hello.
And if you are watching this video, you're getting our behind-the-scenes thoughts, our thought process, some cut jokes, some deleted scenes, and a tease for next week's Honest Trailer. That's what's happening in this video. Yeah, this was a movie. Some films are tough to kind of get our hooks in for an honest trailer. You know, what's the real underlying thesis? What's our premise? What's our take? This one was really a softball down the middle. Just a old school crappy movie, crappy superhero movie. Like, oh man, I was just salivating when this one came out. How do you guys feel?
Oh man. Well, Joe, how do you feel? This movie almost broke you.
Oh, it broke Joe. Wow.
Yep. Complete blue screen.
Nope.
Nope.
I don't like this movie.
You and the rest of America / the world.
This is a really bad movie.
The first 10 minutes, I was like, what's everyone talking about? Like, this isn't that bad.
Yes.
I will say, the first 10 minutes, I had the exact same reaction. I was like, wait, this was the worst film of the year? No, they're in space.
Yeah.
They're working as a team. It's like the X-Men are going on a mission together. Yeah. I've never seen that in an X-Men movie.
I'm the outlier, because even from the very beginning, I went, here we go again. And I looked right at the camera and went, it's a living.
I just don't see where that, because for me, the X-Men is where they've been not misguided, but where they've succeeded and failed is they pin all their hopes on one character, usually Wolverine, lately Mystique. It's all about, they pick a protagonist, they pick a hero, and it's harder to write this way, but the X-Men should be about the group.
Yeah.
It should be about all of them. You should be balancing their motivations and their wants and their needs and stuff like that. But they just seem to all hang it on someone's blue head, and every other character is kind of sidelined. But this first 10 minutes is like, oh, they're a team.
I agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I
was watching this and I was like, they cracked it. They did it. They figured out how to make an X-Men movie. And then
I will give you that it is cool that they finally said, oh, there are other X-Men. And but the fact that sequence was just like, look, usually when it's like, oh my God, there's other X-Men, like the animated series does it beautifully. Like the big action sequences, hey, there's a cool thing happening right here, but then in the background, Gambit's throwing an alien across the way, and that guy the camera panned over, and then Rogue punched him, and then they fell, and like it's exciting to watch and engaging, and even in the comics, still photos, like still drawings have more animation and movement to them than this opening 10-minute sequence. It was just all of them sitting in chairs.
Well, no, I mean, Raven was sitting there in chairs because she has nothing to do with space.
Sorry, you're right. Occasionally someone would teleport into the very still spaceship and hug someone and make them appear back into the room where everyone was sitting in chairs. It was just very boring to me.
I disagree wholeheartedly, but I will agree that the Raven's presence, we talked about this, is like Beast knew how to fly the ship, Cyclops used his optic blast, Storm used her powers, Nightcrawler used his powers, Quicksilver used his powers, and then it's like, what is Raven doing there? It's like, quick, Raven, shapeshift into a...
Impersonate that astronaut
to fool him and distract him. And Nightcrawler saves him.
She could have done all of that from the chair. Like, she could have been girl in the chair and done all of that from home. There was no reason to get her in the spacesuit and send her into space.
And we'll get into it. Again, the mistake of everyone just being like, Mystique's important and matters. Like, Cyclops could have led the team, because apparently he's had 10 years to lead the team. We didn't get to see any of that.
Some time has passed. We'll talk about time jumps and all that stuff. I feel like we could talk for hours probably about the first 10 minutes alone. So let's get into the honest trailer.
I'm already very upset.
We'll start and stop as we see fit.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be many times.
From Disney comes the last film in this X universe to remind us that just like the human body, when a franchise dies, it craps itself.
Pause. So, how many poop jokes or too many poop jokes was a hot topic this week. I think, if we count this as one overarching poop joke, I'm okay with it. I usually think one or fewer is appropriate. You can't keep going back. You can't go full grown-ups with it. No.
Can't keep going to that well.
I consider this a single poop joke. And our editor, Kevin, who has fantastic instincts and is right all the time and is a needed counterpoint to this, suggested that we do farts like every time we transition. And I'd like to see the fart cut.
Yeah. I do want to see the fart cut. I mean, that's what we were given in theaters, so I would have liked to have seen the Honest Trailer fart cut of this.
I just thought we got all our farts out of the way early and we could move on from there. But
I still think there's too many. There's a little when we go out of the title that was originally at the beginning that I think.
I know. I had them move that back to the.
I missed it though. I missed it after it was gone.
Well, yeah, no, I moved it back because there was. It very much looks like you're going into a butthole.
I'm waiting for
really.
I'm waiting for like a writer's process. Like, oh, this is where we really show people how the writing happens. Like, no, because you're going into a butthole.
Right in the O-ring. So let's keep playing. See if you can see the.
This was a fart,
there it is.
A fart too many.
Our Emmy-nominated work.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Pause.
Would have won an Emmy.
We would have. We were talking about if we had not lost to Carpool Karaoke for the second consecutive year. That's right. The second.
Let it go. It's an honor to be nominated.
It is, and I would have been happy to lose to any of the other nominees in our category. Me and the Bayhive, we have that in common.
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
That's true.
But I think we had talked about if in a weird alternate reality we had won the Emmy, we were going to have John pick something up and just be like, "That's Emmy-winning content right there," with the farts.
Well,
but
even
at
the
it's not
Emmys,
Emmy-winning content.
Even at the Emmys this past weekend, there was a very sort of like imposter syndrome feeling of all of us in very nice clothes at this very nice party we don't belong to, and in the back of my head knowing that the next day we're going to come into work and really make some final calls on how many farts at the beginning of this.
Move that fart later.
That fart works better after this fart.
And the Emmy goes
Statue,
to
please.
Statue, please.
Next year.
Oh, Jenny Slate.
Okay, keep going. Into the anus.
Roll the dice on the latest X-Men joint, an IP that's given us the highest highs, the lowest lows, and the middlest mids, to revisit the Dark Phoenix storyline from X-Men 3. Only this time, we really get to know Jean Grey. No? Not really?
Pause.
Okay, but...
I mean, it's an interesting thing to think about or to just hash out because the movie is entirely about Jean Grey, and yet I feel like I don't know
anything about
her. What we learn about her in this that is played like big reveals for her character is really mostly like the ways Charles effed with her head and lied to her about the true facts of her parents' death, which is a piece of a puzzle.
Right.
But I don't. She popped up at the in Apocalypse and had about 10 minutes, and then we go right to like the most dramatic, important thing that ever happens in her life.
Yeah, they just take for granted that we already know this story because they've done it once not they, but someone else did it once very successfully, and then it was done in the comics very well, and then they tried it again, and then they tried it now again, and they just take for granted that we already know and like Jean without actually making. If you just walked into this franchise and you didn't know anything else about the X-Men, you'd be like, why do I care about what happened to this girl?
This is the thing, though. It's almost worse than that, like an unforced error, because they did do groundwork for this in the last movie, like this whole setup,
a tiny bit, but
where she has this force inside of her, and Charles is in her head. And she's like, I see this world-ending fire. Like they started laying the groundwork for this movie in the last movie, and then in this movie, they're like, never mind, it's a thing in the space, and they completely disregard
anything they did.
That was the last. That wasn't the last iteration. That wasn't the last franchise. That was the last movie, and they just were just like,
remember when a giant fiery phoenix shot out of you and stopped Apocalypse?
That's my thing. It's like when they're walking around campus and Cyclops is like, "Oh, did you hear what they're calling you now? They're calling you the Phoenix." Like, really? Now they're calling her that? How about 9 years ago when she made a huge phoenix appear? Maybe that's when they should start calling her Phoenix.
Well, and here's
I don't.
This is my thing with this whole franchise, and this was my. Oh no! All I want to do is yell. I hate these movies. This is also my problem, like trying to write on this one was just like stay on target, because I just have.
Well, you did discover this, that Joe hates all of the X-Men movies way more than the rest of us do.
Which is
I do.
odd.
Because I love the X-Men. Here's the problem, especially with the reboot, First Class on, okay? None of them accomplish anything they're supposed to do. The decade hopping means you're skipping anything that's going to make me care about the X-Men, and then you're just doing the greatest hits. Days of Future Past. Why do I care that their reality is going to get destroyed? I just learned about Hula Hoop, Havoc, and the C-listers that you relaunched with First Class. I just met them. Why do I care now that they have to make a sacrifice and change their future? Blip, 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 blip. I don't, because I don't know anything about them. Apocalypse came and went. The world ended. Like, the world got leveled, and I don't know. The X-Men have a phone. Everybody really likes them. No one really comments on it. It doesn't matter. The Phoenix doesn't matter. And then with this movie, the point of the Phoenix saga is that you've spent 10, 15, 20 years of comics like falling in love with Jean Grey. And then a weird Firebird takes over her body, and then the Hellfire Club, who you also set up in this franchise already, and then just completely disregarded and ignored, comes, screws with her head, they make her evil, she does something really horrible, and then the team has to make the moral decision as to whether or not to stand with their friend or hold her responsible for this horrible thing that she did. That's the point, but these movies don't get it. They're just like, Days of Future Past is an important name, you know. I don't know, God Loves, Man Kills is an important thing, you know. There's no context. We don't care. Just put the title on it. And this movie 100% like felt that way.
Well, the last two I will agree. Days of Future Past I'll stick up for. I like that movie, and I think it almost makes these two movies worse because I like First Class. It kind of filled in the gaps of the origin, and I liked how they did that. And then I thought Days of Future Past actually very well merged these two things, and it sort of put a bow on the future and was sort of the baton, handing the baton off to this new franchise, and they just immediately dropped it.
Sure.
And then stopped to pick it up, dropped it again, fell down, tripped the other runners in the race.
Someone's pants fell down.
Yeah, it didn't accomplish what it was supposed to do.
And then passed out. They completely had a wide open, just like goodwill, everything in their favor, and they immediately just fouled it up.
Yes.
Horribly. To the point where it lasted 2 movies, and then it's done.
You finally, the only redeemable thing about Apocalypse was at the very end, everyone finally gets a neat looking costume. And then they went right back to their starter jackets, like from First Class. And it's like, you could have at least given me the Jim Lee Cyclops costume. Like, if you're not, I'm not usually a person who's like, I see the thing that I like, so I'm excited. But if you're not going to give me anything else, at least give me that. Like,
give that man some pouches and bomber jackets.
But otherwise, it's just a lady going,
feet or nothing.
Small feet and pouches or nothing. Instead, it's just Mystique being like, why are we putting these children that have a danger room in danger? And nothing makes sense. And nothing
Also,
matters.
we're 50.
Also, we're 50.
And their children were 30.
Yes, I would like to point out, and again, it has been established that these X-Men are canonically the same X-Men that grow up. And we are now in 1992 because they chose to hop decades for no reason, where we are now 8 years from Professor X supposedly looking like Patrick Stewart. Again, it's not me saying like, oh, it's a different franchise. No, they went out of their way to specify that these were the exact same people, and yet for no reason whatsoever, complete nonsense reason, they've said it in the 90s. For, again, no payoff.
Their next mission is on the surface of the sun. It ages them.
Yes, yeah. They would have, like,
Fassbender turns into Ian McKellen, like, woo. That was
Charles, what's going on?
last time we go to that dimension.
That was quite a mission, Charles.
It is going to require some weird Rick and Morty-ing.
Yeah. Mojo World was a doozy. Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, but we're exploring the cosmic potential of the Phoenix Force. No? After the intro, it's all on Earth? Okay, fine.
Yeah, pause. Sorry, we'll never get through this.
We'll never get through this.
These movies are awful.
Big part of the Phoenix Saga is that she actually does some good with it at first.
Yeah,
and
she saves the Emcron crystal and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like you give her this awesome infinite wellspring of power, and it's so clearly the wrong idea and evil right from the get-go. There's no drama. There's the conflict is missing.
Well, you're setting yourself up for the highest stakes in any X-Men movie ever, and as you pointed out, I think, or I forget who, but it ends in the lowest stakes battle, which is literally the battle to cross the street.
Oh, when
The battle
when
across the
they're
street,
fighting
yeah.
to get to Jean, it's literally just like, I guess they're in New York,
Yes.
and they're in like Central Park, and Jean's on the other side. Magneto makes it across first, and he puts a truck in front of the door.
Yeah.
But I feel like most X-Men can deal with that.
You mean the laser eye guy?
Yeah, the laser guy. But then the fight just stops.
Hair guy?
Yeah.
And then you have another.
Well, he won. He hit base.
yeah.
It's superpowered froggery. He
Safe.
crossed the street. He's safe.
He's safe. And he's facing down Jean Grey, and it's like, oh damn, Magneto, Jean Grey, the two most oh, he's gone. Oh, and he's gone.
yeah.
He's gone. That was.
It's yeah. Again, it's the space thing. You know, in the comics, it's you introduce the Shi'ar Empire, and when she gets corrupted and turns bad, she blows up like a populated planet.
Yep.
Like she kills 1 billion people.
Because she's hungry.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you have to do like the full-scale cosmic, here comes a whole space empire, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying you have to do that, but you at least have to give us the equivalent. Like maybe in the last movie, she ends up, if you're going to do it right, we take a movie to meet Jean and a little less mystique. Then she gets the Phoenix Force. She becomes all powerful. The world's like, yay! Look at all this cool stuff she's doing. And then at some point in this one,
she flips 2 cop cars.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, the grand motivating factor is they're putting mutants in internment camps
Because of
Keeping
a
in
cop
mind,
car.
They dropped RFK Stadium on the White House a decade ago, and Magneto got to go live on a farm.
And a kid has
or 2 decades ago. A decade ago, Magneto pulled all the metal out of the earth and killed 100 million, thousands of people. And again,
Didn't he
no
kill
internment
Kennedy?
Camps. Magneto
the bullet
killed John F.
curved?
Kennedy. No, he was trying to save him.
Oh, okay.
According to him. But mutants caused massive destruction on a worldwide scale. No internment camps. Jean literally flips 3 cop cars
and
they're
blows
like,
up a helicopter.
They're like, this number is disconnected, Charles. Click,
They've, like,
put him in camps.
Branded
It's like,
trains, yeah.
but you have a force capable of the kind of power that would make
blow up
a government say we're putting mutants in internment
she should
camps,
blow
and
up a
they don't use
city
it.
or something.
Yeah,
like,
nope.
it's just...
Nope. That's
blow
the
up a
thing.
city, you cowards.
Full parallax.
Yeah, it's it seems lazy. It's not
Yeah.
just that it's not the comic. It's that you have all the ingredients there, and then they choose to just go the easiest route with it. It's like
And the whole character conflict is like, Jean, this is not who you are, but like, yeah, no shit, she's not like a genocidal maniac. Like, what are they arguing over?
Yeah.
For who Jean is. This
keeping
isn't-
in mind the last movie had Xavier saying, "Unleash your power." And now he's like, this is not who you are, Jean.
Yeah.
Like, oh, sure. When the big blue guy's got you pinned down in his mind palace,
Yeah.
it's unleash your power.
when the
but,
roid raisins gotcha.
when she's about to find out you lied to her, it's, no, Jean, pull
Hang on, pull back.
Hang on.
And also, like, Jean, this is not who you are. Who is she?
I don't know.
You have not told us.
She's
like,
Sophie Turner.
She's a grown woman who hangs out with teens in the woods, which I don't know why that bugged me so
why are
much.
the teachers
That
drinking
really
in the
bugged
woods?
me.
The teachers are drinking everywhere. Professor X is getting bombed in his office. Then Beast is getting bombed in the kitchen. Then the kids are all hanging out in the woods, and the
With their
teachers are like
teachers?
pumping the keg. What kind of school is this?
while Dazzler in 1992 is singing like a modern day like
Yep.
EDM song, like
Yeah.
This is a horribly run school.
Where's Harry's hideaway? Is it gone?
I
Go to a bar.
yeah, you kids are supposed to be playing softball like Chris Claremont intended.
we're never gonna get to this.
No, we're not.
No,
Keep going.
sorry, keep going.
Earth? Okay, fine.
Movie's terrible.
We're finally seeing what a new creative team can do with this material. No? Same guy who wrote X-Men Last Stand, but now he's directing too?
All right,
I know what to
pause.
say.
So, look, was Bryan Singer supposed to direct this and he
No.
dropped? No. So this was all the studio's choice from the get-go, because
And I apparently I haven't read the stuff on it, but people have been sending us things that are like, oh well, Jennifer Lawrence like insisted that if he did not direct this, that
Right.
she would quit.
I saw some.
Okay.
Which she quit like 3 scenes in anyway,
exactly.
but whatever.
Was that her attempt to just
I think
scuttle
so.
the franchise
Yeah.
for good?
Yep, she
Wow.
She was like really trying to.
She was calling their bluff. She was like, "There's no way
There's
they'll
no
put
way.
the guy that wrote Fan Four Stick and X3 in the director's chair."
Simon Kinberg called her up and was like, "I've written this great line for you about changing the name of the X-Men," and she was like, "I have to deliver that line."
Yes.
and then murder me
and then
immediately
kill me
after.
off immediately.
Call it the X-Women because it's the women who save the men.
Well, no, it's a terrible construction, and it's really the worst line you could imagine. And it's not the sentiment, although the sentiment's a little try hard, and I don't like that either. But it's like, and by the way, it's the women are always saving the men around here. So maybe you should change the name to X-Women. Just as a punchline, you gave the punchline away earlier in the sentence.
Sure.
So it's just poorly constructed because, like, if you want to, I mean, I don't want to be Mr. Masterclass here, but if you want maximum impact.
We have
it would
lost
be
4
like,
Emmys.
In case you haven't noticed, we're the ones who are saving the men around here. So maybe you should change the name to X-Women.
Yeah, easy peasy.
There you go.
Is way better
That's
than.
better.
By the way, in case you haven't noticed, the women are always saving the men around here. So you may as well change the name to X-Women. I knew what you were going to say because you just gave it away early. Like, it's just poor construction. It's not the sentiment. It's like the Seinfeld. It offends me as a comedian. Yeah, sorry.
Also, Nightcrawler saved Jean Grey's life in previous
And Nightcrawler, they just landed from a mission where Beast piloted a ship into space, and the Nightcrawler saved Jean Grey from the vacuum of space with a space helmet that Quicksilver duct taped onto Nightcrawler. So factually, her sentence is also incorrect.
She was truly the only person who didn't need to be there.
Exactly. Yeah, she was the only superfluous member of that crew. That's the other thing. The ball's on her to go in there and demand they change the name to X-Women after she bravely sat in the co-pilot seat and did nothing on a space rescue mission.
And then was like,
Charles,
why did you send us to rescue people? And he's like, well, because we want, you signed up for this. You're an X-Man and you're 50. And, and this is so that people won't get mad at us and put us in camps. Granted, he didn't see that they were already planning to do that anyways.
Right.
But
Charles, you so like you. What do you like going to the White House and getting medals from the president?
Yeah, that sounds dope.
It's kind of great.
That's kind of
better than being rounded up into camps. Like,
Exactly.
I've seen the trains. They're ready to go.
That's literally what he said. He's like, but compared to the alternative, yeah, I'm sorry that you're bothered that I have to go to the White House and have a hotline to the president.
Do you think Xavier was ever talking to the president and he was like, also, what's this train you keep thinking about every time you look at me? Because they've clearly been ready to go.
By the way, Raven, you were one bullet away from all of us being killed by mutant hunting robots in 20 years. So why don't you get off your high horse and go get impaled on a house somewhere?
Keep going.
There's so much we wanted to say in this trailer that I couldn't say.
This movie's terrible.
You know what they say?
There he is,
Fool me
drinking again.
once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and you could probably fool me again, because I like the cartoon, and nerds are easy marks.
Yeah, they didn't see this one, though.
On X-Men.
No.
Just kidding, doesn't matter, because no one will explain how or why Magneto is a free man after the last movie, or how the X-Men
Pause.
have a
Magneto's farm. I have questions. Well, they are growing food. The weird thing about it is it's not a prison, because they come and go as they please.
No,
Yeah.
the federal government has granted them this land.
Because the thing that super weirded me out about it was like it seems like a refuge, like a peaceful place where mutants who don't want to be part of the world, where it seems like they're pretty well.
I thought we were going to get a weird reveal and they were savage landing it in Antarctica and he'd
Yeah.
like run off.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like Genosha.
Genosha, yeah.
Yeah.
But
No,
like,
just a
the thing that
reservation.
weirded me out about it was I guess it's
Toledo.
Beast comes to tell him that that Jean Grey, someone who he's met maybe once or twice, as far as we know.
No, I'm assuming they've had a million great adventures in the 10 years that they chose not to show us in the movie.
I believe Beast showed up after Jean Grey showed up from out of nowhere with blood on her shirt, and then they had a helicopter, which we'll
He's
talk
like-
about. They fought over a helicopter, and then he's like, "Get out of here!"
I'm just trying to imagine the missing scenes here where Beast is like, there's this, Jean sort of, she's a bit of a loose cannon. We need you to go kill her. He's like, okay. And then there had to be another conversation where he talks to his inmates, his like friends, and
Yeah.
he's like, guys,
You mean hair guy?
Yeah, hair guy, stabby girl. Come with me.
I know we're all like enjoying our refuge, but I need to go murder a stranger. You all are cool with coming with me and helping, right? No, trust me. She's a threat. Let's go to New York. Everyone hop on your hair. Let's fly to New York. Like, why are they? What is his role there? Why are they suddenly his murder squad? They're not
angry that Raven got killed.
Okay, fine. I know he's angry, but the rest of them are just farming.
Why do they I don't know that blue kit chick. Why? Like,
they're not like the House of M. They're not like his Magneto's henchmen. They're farmers, and they all just show up to murder Jean Grey in New York.
And the easiest solve to that is when on your whiteboard it says, "Where's Magneto?" after pulling all the metal out of the world, hiding with his cult followers.
Sure.
And so, easy fix. Then someone's like, "Hey, Magneto, we really need you to kill this lady," and his cult followers are like, "We're a cult."
But no, the one thing we know about them is they're like, we want to be left alone.
Yes.
Like,
Get out of here.
Road trip.
Hair guy's just been itching to go, man.
Also, I'm sorry, hair guy. You're not like you don't need to be at the farm. You can just not make your hair do snake dances and you're fine to get a job in marketing or whatever.
Unless it's sentient and it's got a mind of its own.
Just trim it and get a fro.
Yeah, exactly. Did shampoo.
It would have been so much better if he had a fro and it did a Pac-Man mouth.
And can he control all of his hair? We'll never know because the writer created him out of
Also, no one is
thin
again.
hair.
That's another thing with these. That's the thing he did with X3 was like there was a spiky lady.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Wolverine was running around in the woods. By the way, another movie where Jean Grey went to go find Magneto in the woods after she got a Phoenix Force. Come on, dude.
I think he just did a find replace on the old script.
But yeah, that's another thing he does. It's like there's so many mutants that Marvel Comics had to be like, what if we did a thing where there were no more mutants? Because it was getting unwieldy. Like, there's no reason why there's Spiky Guy, Hair Man. Like, give Maggot some love.
Jubilee?
She bailed! She bailed!
She disappeared. Okay, keep going.
These movies are terrible. Never gonna get
the last movie.
This could be a new record.
Or how the X-Men have a hotline to the president after this happened, or why they keep skipping decades, even though it puts these characters.
Pause.
in
It'll
their
be brief. It'll be brief.
Yes.
Even if Magneto was secretly curving the bullet away, they still think he tried to kill.
He was
Kennedy, right?
imprisoned under the Pentagon.
According to
because
the government, he tried to
said
kill-
that he killed John F. Kennedy.
Anyways,
and he told Charles he was trying to.
Now he's on a farm.
Also, I saw some qualms about the fact that we showed Mystique pointing a gun at Nixon, saying after this happened. Well, in the movie, yes, she never technically pointed the gun at Nixon, but we were trying to get a point across in 2 seconds that the X-Men had dropped a stadium on the White House and almost killed the president. And having a mutant point a gun at the president seemed the fastest way. But I've seen that we've been called as like, can you at least be intellectually honest? And that was a very quick way to get our point across. So I gave the order. I gave the order. It's like a few good men. Did you give the order? I gave the order to cheat that shot. It was a way to get our point across quickly. And if you have a problem with it, then I apologize.
All the intellectual honesty that this deserves was in the beginning with the farts.
Yes.
So,
All right, keep going.
He's now 50s. But whatever. Pretend this is the first one you've seen. And thrill as Jean Grey fights an evil space cloud. A monotone space alien.
If we can control that power, we can resurrect our race. Begin again.
Okay.
And a consistent American accent.
I don't have a home. You made sure of that.
In a score that banks on you caring about a
ADR
character who's
exists.
barely
Pause.
on the
Yeah,
ADR exists in this world.
There's some. Everyone's doing an accent in this movie. Like, just cast people that can do it.
The Brits are doing American, Australians are doing German, whatever Alexander Ship is doing.
Yeah.
Like everyone's doing some Halle Berry.
She's doing Halle Berry
Storm.
X1 as Storm.
Which was not an African accent. I don't know what it was.
She don't either.
nope. And I don't think a lot of people are like, she can't act. And it's like, I dare most people to take this script and make it good. Also,
Doing
if you were a
enough
telepath,
favors.
would you speak ever?
No, you just do it in people's heads.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just me.
Freaky deaky. I don't know what that is.
I would just be like, and you'd be like, do you want cheese?
point.
And I'd be like,
Yeah.
and you'd be like, I shouldn't even math. Of course you want cheese.
You'd be Silent Bob?
I think so, yeah. I think I would just Silent Bob it.
All right, keep going.
Scream
have a psychic
before this. It's almost like focusing on Mystique for the last 3 movies was, now hear me out, a bad choice.
Mutant and proud.
Audience, and over it.
They
See
got
the
so
core
much
X-Men how you've come to expect them by now. Annoyed, bored,
There's always a speech, but nobody cares anymore.
and
meta.
way too famous to sit for makeup. But they'll step aside to give the new mutants something to do. Or rather, these mutants, like Cyclops, whose random F-bomb in a PG-13 movie is the closest he comes to a personality.
If you touch her, I will f***ing kill you.
Quicksilver,
Pause.
who's
Of everyone? Cyclops?
I guess it has the most impact because he's the last person who would say a swear.
No, that's the thing though. He's not. Nightcrawler would be. I mean, they turn him into a murderer, but it's like Cyclops. You don't even know him. It's like if he did it in the '90s cartoon, then my goodness, yes, that's quite effective.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe this Cyclops cusses
Ryan, can I? No.
No.
No, we don't have time for beeping.
Maybe this Cyclops cusses all the time. We don't know anything about him.
YouTube and your monetization policy.
Maybe in the past 10 years, he's just become.
Not on main channel.
yeah.
Okay,
All
all
right.
You can address your letters to YouTube.
Can't get too cursy on Maine.
Maybe in the last 10 years, he's just gotten real blue. Like he saw Delirious, and that really kind of changed the course of his personality. I don't know. We don't know anything about him.
Real big into Andrew Dice Clay at this point.
Has any
Hickory
character,
dickory dock, my optic blast. Oh, like
has any character earned an F-bomb through these series of movies like Magneto has? I mean, my God, they put him through the ringer. Like, give
Yeah.
Fassbender the F-bomb.
yeah.
This little punk,
He'll do the
Ready Player
fingering.
One ass dude. He hasn't earned it. He's been in like 1.5 movies. Give Magneto the F-bomb. He's been through. They killed his daughter with an arrow,
Right.
And his wife at the same time with the same arrow,
Right.
And he was digging stuff out of the. Give Fassbender the bomb. He'll put some stank on it.
Also, I think that like
He sounded like a kid who just learned how to curse.
He did.
Yeah.
he's been. Did he hook up with Jean Grey at the end of Apocalypse? Like, were they a couple at that point?
They were already together.
They were already together, so they've been dating for 10
10
years,
years.
and they work together, and like
And they still live in the dorms.
still live in the dorms.
Still party with the kids.
Yeah.
Well, the X-Men have always
Yeah.
lived at the X-Mansion.
Yeah, but
Sure.
in the comic,
gave them a
after a
lake house,
while,
yeah.
they live in a house on the grounds.
It's just
Yeah.
the way he's playing it, or the way it's written, is like, "Don't touch my girl, bro." But it's like,
Yeah.
that's like your common law wife.
Yeah.
You're legally married. You're like, oh yeah, it's old Gene. Yeah, kind of let it go after 89. Year 8 of our relationship.
Old ball and psychic rapport over there.
Just get out of my head, Gene. I'll take the trash out.
You know,
later.
the 10th anniversary is the Mcron anniversary.
Yeah.
Get a piece of a reality shard.
It's like, F you, get away from my girl, bro. Like, you lose that energy. Even if you're more and more in love, you just, the way they're playing it, it's like they're still in high school, because
Well,
they're
it's-
literally in a high school.
They're writing him like he's in his second movie, which he is, but they're also writing him as if this movie took place the year after the last movie, which would make sense, but doesn't, because for some reason, again, they're obsessed with jumping a decade between
Yeah.
movies. So they're writing characters who are living lives 10 to 30 years behind where they should be at this point. So yeah, it's a big old mess.
Hot mess.
Hot mess.
Keep going.
Mesnito.
once again sidelined before his powers make everyone else
How do we
pointless.
neutralize Quicksilver?
Quickly.
Nightcrawler, who's gone from thriller fan to killer man.
Murders a lot of people. He's gonna have to carve a bunch of new
And
sins into
Storm,
his face.
who's been so conditioned to have nothing to do that she lets it pour rain at a funeral.
Just make it stop raining over
The whole
you.
mansion is gonna smell like a wet
that'd be a
dog.
nice touch.
Gross.
If you're
there's
going
no
for
reason-
mood, if you're going for
Positive.
effect
Yeah.
at the funeral,
Yeah.
at least give yourself a respite from the
Storm
rain.
with an umbrella is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Maybe they asked her for rain. They're like, we need some
Mood,
external
weather.
manifestation of our sadness.
Remember when the story was that actress had the gall to be like, they wasted us. That was did she tweet that or something? That must have been the day where she was
It was a
like,
press event.
hey Simon, why am I holding an umbrella when I'm Storm? And he was
Control
like,
the weather?
blah, 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 blah. That was probably the day she was like, and this is the stupidest thing.
And just because I do know that one thing that does happen is the weather. Sometimes when Storm can't control her powers, she will affect the weather. She should still not be using an umbrella.
Right. She's also had 10 years of practice.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or, hear me out, because movie and dramatic moments and things like that, it's not raining, and then Storm gets very upset, and rain happens, and you go, Storm is very upset. I see. Like,
Let the rain fall down.
Is it just an FU?
Coming clean.
to me, yes, it is.
No,
Dan.
is it just an FU to Raven? Because, like, you know, you would think, like, at the very least, maybe they would think, like, well, at least the last memory we have of Raven is this beautiful memorial service on this sunny, warm, temperate day. We have this wonderful, lasting memory. And Storm was like, screw her. And it's going to rain.
I want attention now.
Exactly.
Stole my lines.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm really hamstrung by this monetizing.
Let Dan curse. All right.
Let Dan curse. Let Dan curse.
Like the next X-Men, probably something like this. Because this is the director's first movie, and he's spending $200 million on his student film, showing off exactly how superhero actors look if it's not handled with care and expertise. Morons. They look like absolute morons. Okay, Michael, pretend you're trying to open a jar with your mind. Sophie, you too. Harder. Harder. Push your hands out more. Way more. Don't worry, it'll look cool later. So press X to pay
Pause.
respect.
It's if you took the behind the scenes of, you know, like the Avengers behind the scenes, and you see Olsen going like this with no Scarlet Witch effects. That's this movie, but it's the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
and I went back to revisit Last Stand, and it's the same thing, man. It's Professor X.
Like it looks dumb without the effect.
The pre-effects reels of Doctor Strange must look a lot of this.
yeah. But then someone was like, that's the movie, baby. Yeah.
No, it's a poop-off between Jean Grey and Professor X at the end of Last Stand. They're just staring at each other, and I'm sure in the script it's like, waves of psychic energy are ripping the stage apart.
Psychic maelstrom.
Yeah, but it's just cutting back and forth between their crap faces.
It's like the South Park.
And I love that, they still have to do the James McAvoy, like, you're
Raven.
telepathic. This is not an antenna. You don't need to like, get better reception.
Sorry, Beast. Hold on. Let me dial in Gene.
Hang on.
Oh, that's
getting a
Mambo
message.
number 5, yeah.
Yes. Raven, what? You're not coming through. What? Say it again. Raven. Wait, hang on. I can't hear you. What? What was... Oh, yes, thank you.
Hang on. I have a call on the other line. Hello.
Yes.
Hold on, I'm going to try
No,
to get
I'm
better
happy with my
reception.
service.
Okay, that's better.
Satisfied with my psychic service.
How much? Well, no, that does sound like a lot more bandwidth. Hang on. Raven, I'm going to call you back. No, go ahead. What was that?
Good times. All right, keep going.
Pay respects to the final terrible movie of the current X-Men franchise.
That's
that
the
you
hero
could
shot.
blame on the writer-director failing upwards, or last-minute reshoots to make it less like Captain Marvel, or the main cast wishing they were dead.
Now we're the only ones left.
Or you could choose to remember all the good times, forget this ever happened, and maybe try reading some X-Men comics instead. Did you know they made books out of all these movies? There's even pictures inside.
Very good.
Starring Lady Bird, Charlie and the Child Soldier Factory. Let's see them aliens. Old Magneto had a
Pause.
bar.
That
The
had
room
to
is
be
split
explained.
of who understood and didn't, and it tells you who has internet brain poisoning and who doesn't. It's the Area 51 Facebook group of we're gonna
Yeah.
storm Area 51.
We're gonna
and see them.
Naruto.
Let's see
Yeah.
them. Yeah, let's see them aliens.
I knew about that,
can't
but I
get us
didn't
all.
know about Let's See
Yeah,
the Aliens.
let's see them aliens. The advantage of this was also that I think even less people noticed that her name is Vuk.
Fuck.
Because someone says it once very quietly in a wide shot.
Yeah. You'll see the alternate.
You know, the main
in a
villain
second.
of the thing.
The inciting.
Someone goes, oh, Vuk's here. Hello! Literally, that's what he does.
Keep going.
X-Men Origins, Frasier. Quoth the Raven, please no more. Taserface. Gotta go fast. Jake Gyllenhaal.
I fought
I'm
for
not
that
here
one.
The
to
movie
make
Nightcrawler.
friends. And the MCU stealing the X-Men? Oh, I get it. X-Men 4, X3, Take 2, The Last One.
Pause. This is X4 because this is the fourth in its reboot.
First class.
The fourth
Days
of the
Future
current
Past,
X-Men,
Apocalypse.
yes.
This
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
It's
Fourth movie of the current
This new
X-Men
cast.
franchise, the second take of the third X-Men movie, X-Men 3, the last
one that we'll
this is the
see
last
for a
one
couple
of
years.
these X-Men films. Yeah.
Had a lot of folks that were like, it's not the fourth one. It was.
Well, from a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view.
Yes.
All right, keep going.
Jean did not have this much blood on her when she flew away. Whose blood is this?
Whose blood is it?
Jean, did you kill Cyclops off screen again?
Weird choice to have a bloody shirt, but I guess
She killed a hobo.
yeah.
Yeah,
You don't know who was in that alley before she was there.
Because I went.
Hi, pretty lady.
My insides.
I saw that scene and then I remembered, like, I thought of flying off. I was like, wait a minute, like, did Raven like?
No one even gets
was it
close
like
to
a?
her.
Was it like a Tom Savini thing, like where when Raven went back and the blood just went like, and then I was like, did Raven like grab her boob? And then I saw her fly away. I'm like, there's no blood there. She's a little on her hands, but I doubt that if she was that worried about the blood, she wouldn't do like this. So it's like,
I figured it out.
who did she kill?
She flew into a bird.
She Fabio'd right into a bird.
It's the beautiful bald eagle.
Yeah, I guess so. A phoenix, if you will. Okay, let's see the deleted scenes.
Starring Ginger Snapped, 50 Jeans of Grey, Sophie Burner. That's telekinesis, Kyle. Charles in Charge. Fuck be a lady tonight.
I like that one too. Yeah.
I'm 50. Old Bluer. Nick Holt. Dogman. Barf. Raven Smone. R.I.P. Mad Magazine. Hey, that's not very Raven. The goggles, they do nothing. Optic Nerd. Kid Vid. Down with the
that one already.
quickness. You want to know how I got these scars? Self-mutilation. Pretty bleak, right? Remember that from X2? No? Bam, there it is. Judge Dreads. And he whips his hair back and forth. They whip his hair back and forth.
Timely Willow Smith.
X-Men, the last straw.
No, strap in.
X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of these.
Stand.
Really? Oh yeah.
Next Man. Fox, the last stand. X-Men, Age of Extinction. Hey, where's Jubilee? Did she just bail? Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, MIA.
Wait, you renamed the school after the lady who murdered its co-founder? That's pretty cold.
Also, he just hung
have-
it?
I-
Wait, he just hung it up?
Yeah,
I
and
have-
they're in New York. That's gonna blow off.
Oh, yeah.
Not him.
I have a big thing with that. Like Raven was Charles's childhood friend and a literal co-founder of the X-Men. And at the end of the movie,
They met Jean Grey a mere
they
8 years
named
ago.
the school after the person who, as unwilling as it was, murdered her.
She's got a pretty high body count. She murdered her parents too.
That is
Or mom.
cold.
Yeah.
That is cold.
Flip those cop cars?
She
she
flipped
became-
3 cop
Yep,
cars.
but she became a
owes-
space bird, so she
Yeah.
gets a school.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
2 lives, 2 Crown Vics on her record. Let's run through.
And then thank God you see her flying across the sky at the end.
Yeah.
She's still out there.
So some quick user comments. Montesama 314. Who the hell thought the same guy who wrote The Last Stand should write what's essentially the remake? I guess Jennifer Lawrence did.
Fox.
I think that his why Fox trusts him for better or worse is he produced Logan and produced Deadpool, but he wrote X3 and he wrote Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, different jobs. Just because look, producers do all sorts of different things. Some are very involved, some are just there. Let you be the judge.
I appreciate, I know everyone's always like, and he's such a huge fan, and it's like, okay, so are people who think Triple H should play Sabretooth and like that Arnold should have been Colossus.
There are a lot of football fans who have never and should never take a snap. Like, that's how that works.
My favorite of the producers was Lauren Schuler Donner has been contractually attached to these films because she was way back at the beginning. She helped develop the original X-Men movies, and she, I think, publicly, like right when the movie came out, was just like, I was not involved in this movie at all. Like, don't at me, don't talk to me. I was not there. No involvement. Not me. Like, she just like publicly was like, nope.
And deleted the tweet. Like,
And then deleted the tweet.
That's
Deleted
right.
the tweet. All right. Still, though.
Still, sentiment.
Just so you know, Lauren Schuler Donner, name on the movie, not involved.
I just want to address the first part of this person's comment. The death mail writes, to be fair, since this was sabotage, should we really blame Fox?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
There's not a pristine series of films that just collide into this crap heap. Like, they were progressively getting worse and worse and more nonsensical. Like, yeah, this film was not sabotaged by the mouse. Like, it was bad. it was bad. Apocalypse was bad. Different opinions on Days of Future Past, but even though there were enjoyable things in it, it was supposed to be a reboot that still didn't even accomplish that. They're not. No, this was not sabotage.
Simon Kinberg's on set. It's like, this isn't the script I wrote. It's like, you're right, it's not. I switched them. And you'll be lucky if I don't do worse.
He's like, yeah, it's like he wasn't on set like, hey, does anyone have eyes on Lilandra and the Imperial Guard? And he's like, oh, we replaced them with Vuk. Fuck you, pal.
Now shoot the scene where you make the professor walk up the stairs.
Hey, Goofy, look what I'm making him do. Like, that's no.
Oh, gore.
This didn't have, and granted, they reshot the third act because they love trains in this franchise for some reason. But it didn't have the feeling of like a studio disaster in the sense that like, oh, it's so scattered, like The Predator or something like that, where it's like, oh, it feels like 18 different movies.
Yeah.
This feels like one consistently bad movie that really overemphasized how much of a good story they could tell about Jean Grey, and because they keep just repeating the same scenes over and over again about Jean.
Marketing wise, you can make that argument, because I do remember they put out a trailer with a release date, and literally the next day they changed the release date. So I could say marketing wise, there could be a discussion about whether or not Disney fully committed and how they marketed.
And then they blew the Raven death like in an interview.
Yeah, the director revealing the biggest death in the movie. When the first trailer came out, which was odd, or the second trailer. But
I think they knew they had a stinker on their hands. The trailer I saw, I'd say 80% of it was older X-Men movies, and then it was like the last 20% like see how it all ends. Yeah. Like they knew there's the more you see of this movie, the more you're gonna hate it. So just
let's just
hang back. All right, a few other things. Let's see, we touched that. RAB Nerd 28 writes, we're just gonna ignore the fact Honest Trailers never did First Class. Any reason why? No, not really.
No real take on it?
Yeah, haven't had the real reason to.
Yeah. We've talked about it. It's been on the schedule a few times, but then we look at it and we all kind of look at each other and shrug our shoulders and go like, I don't know what we say. Yeah, let's do the cartoon instead.
Yeah, yes, I think it was an option, and we were like,
it was more interesting.
We'd rather do the 90s animated series.
So someday, that bottom of that barrel will be scraped.
Oh, we're going to scrape that out of the bottom.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
The decade thing was interesting. They should have just stuck with it instead of jumping decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the characters were weird, but
here's to new beginnings, you guys.
Like a phoenix.
God willing, we're still allowed to do this show a couple years from now when the MCU gets their hands on it and does another take. And if not, it ended with a big old turd, just like this show. Spencer, Dan, Danielle, Joe, thank you for joining us, and thank you, audience. And please come back next week, when we will be uncovering mysterious new franchise in the making.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's very cryptic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's cryptic, but I think our smarter viewers can decode what that one will be.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.